enemies to lovers. Let's go. Hi besties, how are you guys? If you don't know, I'm Larissa. If you know, hello. I am here today to give you some recommendations for one of my favorite tropes ever. And that's enemies to lovers. I just did friends to lovers, and some of you guys said that you would like to see enemies to lovers. I will happily oblige. Say less. I got you. Please hold. Hold up. We have a decent stack of books today, plus we have 2 that are on my Kindle as well. So let's just get started because this is going to take a minute. Okay, so first and foremost, we've got one of my favorite books of all time, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. It's a thick one. She thick or whatever. She is worth it. Let me just tell you. If you do not know Mariana Zapata, she's one of my favorite authors of all time. She only writes slow burns though. If you do not like very slow burns, I wouldn't read one of her books, but even if you don't like slow burns, give it a chance. Give it one chance. And if you still don't like it, I understand. But I love slow burn. So for me, this is great. This is essentially about this woman named Vanessa. She is the assistant to this pro football player named Aiden Graves. And he basically treats her like shit. Like he doesn't pay attention to her, doesn't even say good morning to her every single day, just treats her like shit for years until one day she just quits. And then he comes to her asking her to come back and propositioning her for something that I don't want to tell you because it gives away a really big trope in this. That's kind of like a twist, so I'm not going to tell you, but he comes asking her for something. She basically cannot say no because it is a really good deal. It's kind of like I hate everybody and I also hate you in the beginning, and then I hate everybody but you at the end. Does that make sense? This book is so worth it. It is very long and it is a slow burn, but if you have patience for slow burns, this is everything and more. One of my favorite books of all times. 5 stars for sure. Let me read you the first sentence. Oh my god, I love this book so much. Okay. I was going to murder his ass one day long after I quit, so no one would suspect me. Enemies to lovers! Next, I'm gonna go for a fantasy read for any of my fantasy lovers out there. The Shadows Between Us. First of all, if you don't like fantasy, but you're looking to get into it, I think this is a really good one for that. It is so easy to read. It is very quick, fast-paced, and really, really cute, actually. So this one is about a woman named Alessandra, and she is the baddest bitch. I think that's my favorite part of this book, is how the feminism is portrayed through her, because she lives in a time where women weren't really allowed to be anything but wives, and she kind of challenges that. I really, really enjoy that part of the book, but it's about her wanting to kill the Shadow King. She wants to get in the kingdom, marry the Shadow King, and then kill him. That's her plan. Is her plan gonna work? I don't know. Read and find out. Let me read you the first sentence of The Shadows Between Us. They never found the body of the first and only boy who broke my heart, and they never will. Also, the thing with this one, let me show you. On the dedication, it says, "For Becky, I can't think of anyone more deserving of this Slytherin romance." A Slytherin romance, and then she puts a Damon Salvatore quote that says, "It's cool not growing old. I like being the eternal stud." Damon Salvatore, Vampire Diaries, Season 1, Episode 4. Slytherin romance and a Damon Salvatore reference. That's the only reason why I bought this book, and I regret nothing. Listen, I can't talk about enemies to lovers without talking about The Hating Game. I know this has been everywhere right now, but it is so good that I need to recommend it. If you haven't read this, please do. I tabbed it so much because I love this book. I read it twice. I finished reading it, and then I went right back to the first page and started again. That's how good it is. This is essentially a enemies to lovers workplace romance. It is about this woman named Lucy and this guy named Josh. They are up for the same promotion and they hate each other, and so they fight it out the whole time. It is incredible. I love this book. At some points I thought it was going to be a little bit cheesy, but it gave me just enough cheese. It gave me just enough cheesy without being too cheesy, if that makes sense. This is being turned into a movie soon. Like, I think this year it's coming out on the big screen, so read it before then so you can be one of those people that's like, the book is better. Because I love those people. I am those people. So let me read you the first sentence of The Hating Game. I have a theory. Hating someone feels disturbingly similar to being in love with them. You ain't wrong, Lucy. Oh my god, this book gave me butterflies the whole time. 5 stars. Please read it. Okay, hold up. I'm editing this, and I just finished this book called You Deserve Each Other, and I want to include it in this video because you all need to go read this book. So let me tell you what it's about. So this book follows Naomi and Nicholas. They are engaged, and they're going to be married in a couple of months. However, they have fallen out of love with each other. But neither one of them wants to be the one to call off this wedding. For pride reasons, and also because they don't want to pay the wedding bill. And so since neither one of them wants to call it off, they start doing pranks and sabotaging each other to see which one will give in first. But obviously, in the midst of all of this, they find the couple that they were meant to be in the first place. So good. 5 stars. This book is not talked about enough, and that's a crime upon society. You need to read it, besties. It is told from Naomi's point of view. It is hilarious. This book is the perfect mixture of Monster-in-Law meets What Happens in Vegas. If you've watched both of these movies, that's what this book's about. And it deserves just as much hype as The Hating Game gets. First sentence check. Ready? I think he's going to kiss me tonight. If he doesn't, I just might die. That's the prologue. And then when you move on to the actual first chapter, it says, what an ugly, crappy day. And it's a year and 9 months later. So you see them meeting for the very first time, and then you see a year and 9 months later when they're already engaged and out of love. Go read this book! Now, this next one's also another really popular one, but I can't talk about enemies to lovers without bringing it up, and it's Red, White, and Royal Blue. I was skeptical of this book going into it because I saw politics and I wasn't intrigued by that because I'm not intrigued about reading politic fiction. But oh my god, did this book change my mind. From the beginning I was hooked and I had butterflies the entire time, kind of like The Hating Game. So this is essentially about Alex and Henry. Alex is the first son of the United States and Henry is a British prince, and they hate each other for as long as they can remember until one day it comes boiling over really bad, and essentially America and British like look bad because they don't get along. America and British. I definitely meant America and United Kingdom, but you know what? Mistakes were made. Moving along. So their PR people decide that they need to become friends. So it's like fake friendship that leads to some more. It's so good. And this book is so funny too. I was laughing the whole time. I cried at the end because it was so cute. Highly recommend. Let me read you the first sentence. On the White House roof, tucked into the corner of the promenade, there's a bit of loose paneling right on the edge of the solarium. It says, rule number 1, don't get caught. Read this one, please. I wish I could read this again for the first time. Next, we've got Trysticks Venom by Penelope Douglas. I love Penelope Douglas, and this is a sapphic romance. It's about these girls, Olivia and Clay, and they go to the same prep school. It's like a boarding school romance kind of thing. It is very back and forth on their relationship. They fight and get back together a lot. So if you don't like that, I don't know if this book would be for you, but I would still give it a chance because I love Penelope Douglas and she's great. Everything she writes is amazing. Let me read you the first sentence. Want to bet my mother is about to have a meltdown? That wasn't a very intriguing first sentence, but read it anyway. So next we've got Beach Read by Emily Henry. On the last one, I talked about people we meet on vacation, so I had to bring Beach Read into this one. This one's like academic rivals / enemies to lovers. It is essentially about this man named Augustus and this girl named January who went to school together, and they did not like each other back then. She thinks he hated her, he thinks she hated him, and they competed academically. They're both writers, and now it's years later, and they move next to each other for the summer. In like a writing retreat kind of thing. They're both there to write. And they decide, since they're both going through a little writing slump, that they're going to switch their genres. She's going to write sci-fi, it's like a sci-fi thriller thing that he writes, and he's going to write romance, which is what she writes. And at the end, they're basically going to see who is the better writer, who wrote the better book. And they start going on like little adventures to study what they're going to write. So she takes him on romantic dates because he's going to write romance, and he takes her on like interviews and really dark stuff for her sci-fi writing. It's really, really good. Augustus is amazing. It is a little bit also of a slow burn, but not too much. I think everybody would really like this. Even if you don't love it, I think you would still like it. It's great. Let me read you the first sentence of Beach Read. I have a fatal flaw. I like to think we all do. Beach Read. Next up, we've got The Honeymooners, Christina Lauren. This one is about Olive and Ethan. They're at a wedding, and everybody at the wedding gets food poisoning, except for them two, because they didn't eat anything off the buffet. Yeah, the buffet. They decide to go on the honeymoon that was supposed to be for the married couple, except them two, but they don't like each other. So it's fake dating, like fake marriage, while being enemies to lovers. Oh my god. Yes, and this is also such a fun summer read. I would read this by the beach, and I would also read beach read by the beach. Reading beach read by the beach. What the fuck? Reading beach read by the beach and the unhoneymooners by the beach will hit different. Do it. Let me read you the first sentence of the unhoneymooners. In the calm before the storm, in this case, the blessed quiet before the bridal suite is overrun by the wedding party, my twin sister stares critically down at a fresh painted shell pink fingernail and says, I bet you're relieved I'm not a bridezilla. The next one I'm going to talk about might be my favorite read of this year. I'm not sure, but I really like it, and that's The Spanish Love Deception. 5 million stars for this one. If there's any book you read out of all of these, please make it The Spanish Love Deception. It's like The Hating Game on crack. If you read The Hating Game, you'll love this. And if you haven't read The Hating Game, read The Hating Game first and then read this. Because I think if you read this and then The Hating Game, you won't like The Hating Game as much. Does that make sense? Because this is The Hating Game, but better. It is essentially about Catalina and Aaron. They work together and they, once again, hate each other. Are you seeing a theme here? Well, obviously you're seeing a theme since it's enemies to lovers. You have to be seeing a theme. Anyway, they work together and Catalina has a little problem because she's supposed to go to Spain for her sister's wedding and her ex-boyfriend happens to be the best man and they did not end things on the best of terms. So she's really embarrassed to go back to that little town and be by herself. So she lies to her whole family telling them that she has a boyfriend from New York coming to be with her at the wedding. She doesn't have a boyfriend from New York. She has no one to go with her to the wedding. And so Aaron volunteers to go with her. They have a little deal that he goes to the wedding with her as her date and pretends to be dating her, and she goes to this little event with him and pretends to be dating him. So it's like a fake dating, enemies to lovers, forced proximity, a one bed trope. You get every kind of trope in this book. And let me prepare you, it goes 0 to 100 real quick. It's a slow burn. Not as slow as Mariana Zapata, but still slow. You're reading like a really cute love story and all of a sudden they hit you with some real heavy smut. It is great. Oh my god, please read this. Let's read the first sentence of The Spanish Love Deception. Just opening this book again gives me butterflies. I'll be your date to the wedding. Words I had never, not even in my wildest dreams, and trust me, I had a vivid imagination conceived of hearing from that deep, enriched tone reached my ears. Oh my god. Read this now. The next 2 books I have are on my Kindle. I don't have the hard copies of them, even though I need to get it ASAP, but I'll just put a picture right here. The first one I'm going to talk about is From Lukov with Love, Mariana Zapata. I'm obsessed with Mariana Zapata. I will recommend all of her books until the day I die. From Lukov with Love is essentially about Jasmine and Lukov. It's Ivan Lukov and Jasmine. They have known each other since they were children because Jasmine is best friends with Lukov's sister, but they do not like each other and they have been enemies ever since. And now it's been many, many years that they have practiced in the same facility. And there are some circumstances where Lukov doesn't have an ice skating partner and Jasmine doesn't have an ice skating partner, so they decide to partner up. But they are still enemies ever since they were children. And now they have to be partners on one of the most romantic sports in the world, ice skating. Are you kidding me? Like partner ice skating? You guys, this book is so good. Ivan Lukov is built different. It is really good. I suggest you read it, even if you're not into ice skating, because I wasn't into ice skating, so I was kind of like, I don't know how she's gonna write ice skating. Kind of scares me, but I ate my words up because that shit is good. The last book I'll talk about is Colty, also by Mariana Zapata. Also read it on my Kindle. I need a copy of Colty ASAP because it became one of my favorite books of all time. It is, I think, the slowest burn I've ever seen Mariana write. Honestly, like even the Wall of Winnipeg in me was a little bit faster than Colty. Colty is so slow, but amazing. I love slow burns because I get bored when the couples are together. So I like to see them not together for as long as possible until the end. Does that make sense? Like I like them to have a happy ending, but I like them to not be together until the end. So Colty is about this girl named Sal, and she's on a professional soccer team. And when she was little, she used to be obsessed with a soccer player named Rainer Colty. He was like her celebrity crush. She had him on birthday cakes. He was her wish every year. She would write him fan letters, posters, like the full shebang. How girls used to be obsessed with like Bieber and One Direction. And by girls, I mean me. I was girls. She was like that with Colty. And now it's been many, many years. She's a professional soccer player. She never thought he would know that she exists. He becomes her coach for her team. And she's like, oh my fucking god, he cannot know I used to be obsessed with him. But also she hates who he is now. She thought she would like him, but she hates him. He's not the same as she thought he was gonna be. So it was kind of a disappointment. Oh my god. Colty is magnificent. Highly recommend. I can't read From Lukov with Love or Colty's first sentence because since I don't have them with me, I can't read the first sentence, but just trust me. Just trust me. Also, besties, let me know if you want me to do another video like how the one I did for Colleen Hoover, but with Mariana Zapata instead, where I talk about all of her books, how much I rated it, a little bit about them, all of the stuff I did for the Colleen Hoover video. Let me know if you want to see that for Mariana Zapata as well, because she's another one of my favorite authors. Enemies to Lovers is one of my favorite tropes, so if you guys want more parts of this video, I can make way more because I have way more recommendations. These are just like my big ones, the ones that I will ride and die for. Let me know any other tropes you want to see. So that is all. I hope you have a great day. I love you, besties. Goodbye. Read all of these books, and if you read them, let me know what you think.